very good afternoon and welcome to the News International edition on this 18th day of September 2023. We are coming to you live from our Vision Group headquarters here in Kampala, Uganda. I'm Emma Akwero. We start today from Sudan, where hundreds of Sudanese are lining up at the immigration to try and get passports so they can flee the country. The war in Sudan is showing no signs of ending, with over 7,000 people dead so far, and millions have been displaced both internally and externally.
1 million people have crossed Sudan's borders since April, fleeing the devastating war between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Since the authorities inaugurated a new passport office in the eastern city of Port Sudan in late August, hundreds of people have lined up all day, every day. They are desperate to obtain paperwork that will allow them to leave Sudan's deadly war behind. Marwa Omar, a mother of 4, was one of hundreds who lined up at dawn to try and get passports in Port Sudan. 15 hours later, she still had nothing to show for it. Those seeking passports are frustrated. I want to leave this country. I need to be anywhere but here. This isn't a country anymore. There's nothing left. We can't live or put food on the table or educate our children. If you know someone inside who will get it done for you quickly, come. Otherwise, don't bother. In 5 months of war, the violence has killed 7,500 people, displaced more than 5 million, and eroded Sudan's already fragile infrastructure, plunging millions into dire need. Like Omar, many have flocked to the coastal city, which has so far been spared in the fighting and is now home to government officials, the United Nations, and Sudan's only functioning airport. I was in at Bara for 2 months, but when I heard they were issuing passports again, I came to Port Sudan to try my luck. I hope I can get passports. I hope I can leave. But days go by and only a lucky few manage to get inside the building to hand in their paperwork, as others like her wait outside for their turn. Those lucky enough to get inside the building have to enter a cramped room, terrible heat and no chairs. You have elderly people leaning on their canes for hours or sitting on the floor. It is all wrong. I came here to get a passport for my child. At this rate, we'll be here for months. It's so crowded, it's hard to breathe. Imagine what these children and old people are feeling. But still, they show up every day determined to leave Sudan at any cost. More than 2.8 million people have fled the Sudanese capital Khartoum, where the pre-war population was around 5 million. Some left immediately for safer places, but others spent months sheltering in their homes, rationing water and electricity, while praying that the rockets were farther away than they sounded. Sudan was already one of the world's poorest countries even before the war broke out, but now it has plunged into a horrific humanitarian crisis. More than half the country is in urgent need of humanitarian aid, according to the United Nations, and 6 million people are on the brink of famine. Those who could scramble enough money together to make it to Port Sudan are burdened with skyrocketing accommodation and food costs, and now they have to pay $200 to get passports.
Now, Ukraine war amputees are trying to forge a life of strength after losing limbs in the war waged against the country by Russia's Vladimir Putin. Now, many Ukrainians joined the army to try and defend their country. We'll bring you more of this story.
During a hike in the picturesque Carpathian Mountains in western Ukraine, Volodymyr Malikin, a 31-year-old Ukrainian amputee, playfully overtakes his 3-year-old son, Bogdan, prompting the little boy to laugh in delight. Malikin lost a leg while fighting against Russian troops in eastern Ukraine and now walks and even runs with crutches. He was one of the 24 war victims who this weekend hiked up a mountain as part of a project to rehabilitate and reintegrate soldiers with disabilities. Malikin, who stepped on a mine while saving a wounded comrade, insists he is physically fit and in good health. I am not a disabled man. Soon I will be a semi-cyborg. Yes, we had to fight. This has happened, but I'm moving on with my family. Hopefully, everything will be fine. I just have to keep a positive attitude. The 20-year-old lost a limb near the eastern Ukrainian town of Gorlivka in 2020 and underwent a below-the-knee amputation. He said the mountain walk helped him rest mentally, adding it was also a chance to prove himself. It is a great opportunity to test yourself, conquer a mountain, and make a small achievement. It is hard sometimes, but this is really nice. Vasil Nikorak, who lost his right leg in eastern Ukraine, had to be carried in a French-made all-terrain wheelchair part of the way. Nikorak, 37 years of age, said the walk helped him unwind. With this walk, you forget about some things that are always with you. It is a very positive experience for people who lost limbs in the war, people like me. This is really good.
Це морально дуже позитивно.
Наприклад, сьогодні ми допомагали.
Nikorak is in the process of adapting to his new self. This is normal. Unfortunately, we have a lot of such people now. This is war, and these things happen.
Думаю, що це треба практикувати багатьом, і, на жаль, таких людей в нас зараз багато.
Since Russian President Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine in February 2020, thousands of Ukrainians have lost one or more limbs. The authorities say they are hoping to organize more such walks for the wounded Ukrainian soldiers. At the mountain peak, the hikers gathered near a memorial to Ukrainian soldiers who battled Russian troops during World War I and cried out traditional slogans extolling Ukraine and deriding Putin. Glory to the heroes, they shouted. Glory to the nation.
Trying to find a silver lining in the dark clouds right there. Now, Thai archaeologists and historians are fighting for the return of lost treasures of an ancient town. The treasures were stolen over time, leaving only a building. Up to 32 museums in the U.S. are said to have stolen treasures from Thailand.
Under the scorching sun, Thai archaeologist Tanachaya Tiande clambers through ruined pagodas in the ancient town of Sitep, trying to unlock their mysteries, a task made harder because parts of the puzzle are missing thanks to decades of looting. Thailand has a rich collection of historical sites, but foreign looting has stripped many of them, leaving the country scrambling to repatriate its stolen cultural wealth. The big picture, like the building, was discovered, but the artifacts which tell little details are missing, making a lot of stories untold about Sitep. It's like a piece of a puzzle was missing. Missing items mean gaps in the record, which makes it harder to satisfy the curiosity of tourists visiting the site.
คือดูจากรูปภาพอะค่ะเราวิเคราะห์
Artifacts dignify Thailand's past civilization, and when some parts are missing, we get stuck and we can't tell important pieces of the story to the world. The 400-hectare complex, which archaeologists date back to between 1,500 to 1,700 years ago, may be inscribed in UNESCO's Cultural World Heritage List this week, Thailand's first tradition since 1992. As 33-year-old Tanachaya carefully excavates the ancient stone's constructions, she faces a difficult task piecing together the stories of Sitep, which lies around 200 kilometers north of Bangkok. It is believed that over the years, at least 20 objects have been stolen from the site, with experts identifying 11 in museums in the United States. The real number of looted objects is suspected to be far higher, thanks to a lack of documentation. Now, Tanachaya, who decided when she was young that she wanted to become a Thai version of movie actor Indiana Jones, and her colleagues face their own quest. Can they bring their culture's treasures home? Thailand's government, led at the time by the military, established the committee to monitor Thai antiquities abroad in 2017. About 340 objects have been voluntarily repatriated to Thailand since then, according to the latest report by the committee.
Actually, now it's beyond my expectation. Tourists come here like more than the last year, like 10 times. So we are reaching full capacity at this moment to prevent some damages.
The Norton Simon Museum, located in the United States of California, holds 9 Thai artifacts, according to a recent statement from the committee, including one item an independent expert says is from Sitep Park. The items were among 32 scattered in museums across the United States. Thai historians face another dilemma. Sitep's bid to become a UNESCO site could boost the local economy, but it could also put the fragile ancient site under strain. Presently, only 1% of visitors to Phetchabun, the province that is home to Sitep, are foreigners, according to official 2019 data. The Thai government hopes UNESCO designation will help boost the kingdom's tourism sector, which accounts for almost 20% of the country's GDP. There are, however, concerns about conservation.
แล้วก็เราก็คงจะทำในลักษณะที่มี
The process is slow, partly because government officials are wary of jeopardizing diplomatic relations with important allies, like the United States. Instead, Thai authorities have pursued a discreet diplomatic route. We won't accelerate anything.
วิธีการก็คือใช้ช่องทางทางการทูตมันเป็น
At Sitep's peaceful complex, domestic visitors gaze at a carefully carved pagoda wall.
ก็พอดีทราบข่าวจากในทีวี
It is the heritage that belongs to the Thai people, and that we are proud of. It would be a pity not to get it back. It once belonged here.
ซึ่งมีความรู้สึกว่าภูมิใจมากและก็ดีใจที่จะได้
Now, tens of thousands of people took to the streets of New York calling for increased action against climate change ahead of the opening of the UN General Assembly. Protesters from 700 organizations and activist groups carried signs in a demonstration that came on the heels of a summer marked by multiple climate change-linked disasters.
U.S. President Joe Biden is among the world leaders set to attend the UN General Assembly, which is scheduled to formally open on Tuesday.
We are double way impacted. Our back home impacted, we impacted here. We care climate. We clear climate. We need climate justice. We really need Biden administration declare climate emergency and do the best to repair our climate crisis.
A UN climate report released this month named 2025 as the deadline for global greenhouse gas emissions to peak, followed by a sharp drop thereafter if humanity is to cap global warming in line with the Paris Agreement targets. The 2015 Paris Treaty has successfully driven climate action, but much more is needed now on all fronts, say the report, which will underpin a crucial climate summit in Dubai at the end of the year. Achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2050, another Paris goal, will also require phasing out the burning of all fossil fuels whose emissions cannot be captured or compensated.
We are making sure that we are bringing a message to our leaders that we cannot tolerate any more fossil fuel development in this country or anywhere else. We want to make sure that Biden actually commits to his promises that he made to young people when he was running for president. And that means no more fossil fuels. Climate change is a huge problem for our generation. We feel really angry that there's a world that we're going to grow up in that's being decided for us. And it's a world that doesn't seem to be safe for us. It's a world that we feel left out of, and a world that we're going to have to deal with. And so instead of just giving up and letting that world be decided for us, we're actually mobilizing in the streets to make sure that our leaders know that they cannot do that, and that we will do everything in our power necessary to take the power we need in order to inherit a world that is dignified and safe for all people, not just a wealthy few.
Biden has made a historic push for green manufacturing, offering billions of dollars for clean energy projects. But some young activists say he has not acted forcefully enough to lead the United States off dependence on fossil fuels. California filed a lawsuit on Friday against 5 global oil majors, alleging the firms caused billions of dollars in damages and misled the public by minimizing the risks from fossil fuels. Top world scientists warn that the world is likely to experience new record heat in the next 5 years, and that global temperatures are more likely than not to breach a crucial threshold of an average 1.5 degree sea rise.
Running for office, and he said that he will lift up environmental justice, and he will address environmental racism. But that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing where the corporations and the banks and the politicians have co-opted our environmental justice movement. We're here to bring truth to the reality that this is a life and death issue. As indigenous peoples of the U.S., standing with our brothers and sisters from Latin America and the world, we are the reality of a fight for dignity. Now, this climate change issue is real. We see the contradictions of this administration every time they approve a new permit to extract fossil fuels from Mother Earth and burn it, combustion. As indigenous peoples of the U.S., standing with our brothers and sisters from Latin America and the world, we are the reality of a fight for dignity. Now, this climate change issue is real. We see the contradictions of this administration every time they approve a new permit to extract fossil fuels from Mother Earth and burn it, combustion.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has organized a Climate Ambition Summit for Wednesday during the General Assembly, at which he hopes to accelerate the ongoing work to counter climate change by governments, as well as provide sector organizations and financial institutions.
And now for a light story, with people showing off their cats in different competitions during New England's Mew Outfit's 10th annual all-breed household pet cat show. Enjoy.
I'll watch the cats. Okay, thank you.
What else do we have? Oh, he's going back in. He's done.
He's in.
I have an announcement.
Household pet number 135 to ring 8, please.
And finally, a 41-year-old Sumatran elephant has given birth to her 5th child at Teso Nilo National Park in Indonesia. According to the World Wildlife Fund, Sumatran elephants are on the brink of extinction, with only about 2,400 to 2,800 left in the world.
Lisa ini sudah melahirkan di Taman Nasional sebanyak 5 ekor anak. Yang pertama anak Lisa itu adalah Cinela, yang kedua Imbo, yang ketiga Rimbani, yang keempat Riu, dan terakhir nih yang kecil yang baru lahir sekitar 2 hari yang lalu, sekitar tanggal 31 Agustus 2023, tepatnya subuh dini hari.
And that's all the international news we had for you this afternoon. We'll be back again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thank you for watching, and do have yourselves a splendid afternoon.